How's it going, guys? My name is Franker and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing our monthly analysis for the month of July. Now we are a day late. It is July 2nd, but that doesn't matter. We'll power on forward. I was busy yesterday, so didn't get around to it, but nothing has really changed. So pretty well in this video, all we do is go through what has happened in the month of June, basically predict what we're looking at for the coming month of July and further into the year. But before we do go any further, guys, remember to hit that subscribe button, guys. We're sitting at 687 subscribers, so if we could push that up to closer to 700, that would be much appreciated. Or if we're already at 700 subs, goal for the year is to hit 1000 and hopefully maybe just get monetized. That would be the goal for this year. So if you do enjoy, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Any questions you have, feel free to comment down below. But let's jump straight into the charts. Now, this video might be a little bit repetitive because nothing has really changed in the last month. It's really just been a bit of a choppy couple of months, and that's kind of what we've been predicting. If we go back and have a look at this chart overall, we've been talking about our 4-year cycle. It is pretty straightforward. We're in our 2-year accumulation phase, but what we often see around the halving is what we're considering the pre-halving pullback. So if we go back far enough, pretty well what happens is we hit a cycle high, and then we talk about a cycle, we talk about from the low to the eventual high, but we hit a temporary cycle high prior to the halving, and then we see price take a while to then get eventually above that, which, in the first case it was 5 months till the eventual breakout candle. In the next example it was 6 months. You can see cycle high before the halving, and then we have that bit of a slowdown into the halving. Same thing again here, although it happened much earlier and it was a long accumulation phase. Obviously also affected by COVID being in there, so maybe drew things out a little bit longer than it might have been. Who really knows, who's really to say, but you can see a long 17 bar accumulation, and then we find ourselves here in the current cycle, and you can see that we're pretty much we are at the start of that. You see we get an actual new all-time high in this scenario, not just a cycle high, and then you can see we've had a pretty considerable, or not really a considerable, drawback in terms of percentage. It's only been about 20% off the top of my head. Yeah, so only about 23.4%, so not a huge pullback for Bitcoin standards, but a pullback nonetheless. And you can see now that we are actually in our 4th month, going into our 4th month, and we're looking unlikely that we get a real breakout candle here. And what we've been saying basically is we probably expect this to take 6 to 8 months, and what that'll do is put us back on track with our 4-year cycle as well, because you can see that every single time, or there's only been 2 examples, but it's taken that 2 years to get across to the all-time high from the cycle low to the prior all-time high. It's taken 2 years until an eventual breakout. So if we have a few months here of stagnation, that's actually not really the end of the world. It kind of puts us back on track for the cycle. If we see something just along the lines of, ignore this bad drawing, but something like that, and then we're actually back on target at what we were looking at earlier in the year, with that eventual breakout coming later this year, and another new all-time high, and then we can have essentially our final year up, which is that green box that we see. You can see we got a final year up and then a final year up. So that's kind of what we're looking at this point of time, and nothing's really changed. June didn't really change any of our opinions or anything like that, so it's just kind of a sit and wait point. And if you haven't watched any of our prior Bitcoin monthly analysis videos, go back and check them out, because they are pretty handy. And if we just watch this short clip, basically that we just kind of roll over here and we come back down and test lower, something like that, and then we can maybe look at re-pushing back up and getting back to where we were prior. Look, there's really no magic ball. There's going to Hopefully that gives you guys the idea. Hopefully it was loud enough, but you kind of get the idea, right? We're kind of looking at this point where this was obviously the 1st of June, and we're kind of saying, okay, well, we're at the top here. Maybe we can break above, but more than likely as we come back down and see something like this, and that's kind of what we're starting to see play out. But obviously, this drawing here isn't the exact this is the exact way it's going to play out. It's going to play out obviously very different to that, but that's kind of what we're looking at the moment, is some sort of continued drawback and then maybe a push up later into the year. Same thing again, Bitcoin dominance, nothing has really changed. We're kind of seeing what it looks like to be some highs starting to form again with, these strong or these big wicks to the upside into this orange trend line. So, just seeing some resistance overhead, but until we really come and break down of these lows here, if we can break down them, maybe we start to see a bit more of a bearish indication. Of course, this is just on Bitcoin dominance, not Bitcoin's price, not altcoin's price, but the dominance. So if we were to break down, obviously that suggests we're looking at a bit more of an altcoin season, but it wouldn't surprise me if we saw some more strength, a final push up sort of thing, just break the neckline and then sort of come back down as a bit of a fake out, something like that, even just to, same thing again, when we're trying to line this up with the cycle, we're talking about, Bitcoin breaking out eventually later into the year. And if we want to see, Bitcoin dominance kind of peak just before the cycle goes absolutely maniac and the altcoins all start to run, maybe we see a little bit longer trajectory of Bitcoin dominance going up, if that makes sense. Okay, now with ETH, I've literally just left last month's scribbles on the screen because I think it sums it up pretty well. What we were looking at was just, ETH getting around that $4,000 mark. That's where we've got that line on screen along there, and you can see $4,000 has just been continued resistance, and pretty well what we said was, we're coming up, we were at that point, we're somewhere, 1st of June is this, just this candle in here, and we're kind of saying, look, we're at the resistance. Maybe if we can break above, we can continue to see things go up higher. But obviously, we had our contingency plan, and that was a bit of a pullback. You can see that we actually came back already to the first line, and we've seen a bit of a pump up from there. But what is potentially also going to play out is testing lower, and basically we've got 3 points that we can come down and test, in my opinion. The first one is where we're at right now. That's the most bullish. If we can hold that point, we see price spring up quite fast, quite strong. And then the lower we go, obviously the longer things are going to take to recover. And the final point of support, is this trend line. If this trend line breaks, I'm very concerned. Even if the other two break down, that 3-3 level, that around that $3,000. If $3,000 breaks, I'm happy to, if we can come back down to 2.5, hold that trend line, that's okay. It's not really the end of the world, but if that trend line breaks, you can see how important of a support it's been. Obviously, the very low of the cycle, and then we, resistance, found support on that trend line and then pushed away. We could see something like that again, where it's resistance, find support on the trend line, and then eventually push away and break higher. That's something I'm potentially expecting. And of course, same thing again, where we're kind of looking at Bitcoin breaking out later into the year. My prediction would be is that if ETH bottoms here, we probably break out a bit prematurely. But if we come back down a little bit lower, retest some of these lows, and then push up later into the year, that's kind of what we got to look at it like. Where are we in this cycle? And at the moment, we're just kind of in a churn, in a bit of a chop. We're really just waiting for later into the year until we push into that sort of final year of mania. That's kind of what we're prepping up for, and what this pre-halving pullback really is just a bit of chop. It gets out all the traders, gets out all the leverage, reconsolidates Bitcoin's price a lot higher. And it gets rid of it. Gets rid of the people that got in too late. It confuses people that are expecting the pump up. It confuses the bears that are expecting this to be the top, and that's what it's really all about. So a little bit, not really the best trading market perhaps, just because it is choppy. You don't really know exactly what's going to happen, but we're really just waiting for this to bottom out, consolidate, and then we can push up later into the year. Similar story with CRO. Obviously, we've been really done a really good job at calling the lows in and around that under 10 cents, under 5 cents in particular, and then we've just seen a nice push out and break away. Obviously, we've come back under the 10-cent range, which isn't ideal, but it's not at the end of the world. The important thing is that we've got higher lows, and of course higher highs to go with that. So as long as we bottom somewhere along or higher than the prior swing low, this is the monthly swing low, month to month basis, and then see something like that, that's a-okay. And it's the same thing again, right? We're looking at later into the year, so how Crow bottoms over the coming months, it might just be something like that, and then eventually things start to run up later into the year. That's kind of what I'm looking at this point in time. But as long as this low holds, or we don't get any weekly or monthly closes below, I think we're all good. As for Trust Wallet token, it is actually looking a little bit weaker. I've been looking at this trend line as the same thing again. If we can just hold this and then sort of bounce away from here and then look to go on, same thing again. I'm going to repeat myself a little bit here later into the year. That would be quite a good sign. But obviously we have just been struggling to see any real positive price action. It's really stagnating, especially since that earlier in the year, or I guess late last year, it actually was push up. We're just kind of seeing continued higher lows and a bit of a downtrend here, and then obviously colliding with this uptrend that Trust Wallet has been on since its inception. So in a bit of limbo here. If this breaks and we see some sort of consolidation below, something like that, and it just starts to go down, that's really bad signs, especially going into what we expect to be the bullish part of this cycle. So keep an eye on that. But on the contrary, if we do pump up, and actually break above, this 50% level in particular, maybe we're still on for this bull market. So, hedging your bets either way. If you were looking at Trust Wallet and thinking about potentially investing now, I know I've been pretty positive on this one, just with the overall price structure, just that genuine uptrend that's been in the last, or pretty well its whole time. So if, I would say if you can wait, see Trust Wallet, get above the 50% and then buy and then let it run up, that would be, probably my ideal situation to be buying Trust Wallet in. Now, as for Sol, we've been pretty bullish on Sol ever since this sort of consolidation area, where we were covering it quite heavily and saying, potentially a good buy area in and around this, $70-$80 range. Which obviously it was only in temporarily, but it was still there nonetheless. But at the moment it is still actually one of the stronger altcoins. That's definitely true. It's holding up on some of its lows, but maybe some higher lows there. But what I would say with Sol is that it's fine if we got this major 50% level just under us. So even if we came back down and tested that again, that wouldn't be too bad. But I think it's really looking quite strong. It's likely that we're just going to continue pushing up. In my opinion, it has been the strongest altcoin this whole market or this whole cycle, and going forward I expect that to be the case. Of course, it's not going to have the 100x returns that some other altcoins are going to have, because obviously its market cap is now quite large, but it is at the moment looking like one of the better coins, one of the safer options if you're looking for better returns than Bitcoin. But obviously, not that extremely high risk you get with a lot of other altcoins, and Solana's looking like one of those at the moment, just because of this price action. I mean, it's quite clear. It's almost at all-time highs. It almost broke its all-time high. And a lot of other altcoins are nowhere near their all-time high. They're still really struggling to get up and higher. So it's looking like a good spot. Obviously, it would have been nice if we bought down here, or if you were able to, well done. Obviously that wasn't the case. We got more on the train a bit here, a little bit later, but we waited for a bit more of a confirmation that Sol is strong, which we got, and now we're, in profits essentially. So not a bad spot for Solana. I still think it's one of the stronger altcoins, and potentially looking, in this general area like a nice little buying opportunity. Now, that's pretty well it, guys. I know this was a bit of a quicker video, but honestly, if you just want to go back and check out last month's video, it's a lot of the same stuff. In my opinion, nothing has really changed. As we said, we're just in a bit of a chop period where the price doesn't really do anything that changes our overall thesis. Yes, the price goes up. Yes, the price goes down a little bit, but it's really just a bit of chop that breaks up the leverage traders, breaks up, confuses people a little bit. That's what it's really all about. So if you guys did enjoy it, remember to hit that subscribe button. I do have a bunch of referral codes in the description below. You can see them all here. Obviously, Koinly is a good one, as it is tax time now. The 1st of July is the end or the start of the financial year, which means you need to lodge your taxes for last financial year. So get $40 off your first Koinly tax report. It's a really good offer that they have. Another one, Australian exchanges, Bitcoin. Free Bitcoin with Coinspot and Swyftx, crypto.com. Obviously, I have some really good rewards, $25 worth of CRO when you sign up to the Visa card program, and ByBit. Obviously, if you're looking to do more trading, obviously we don't cover too much trading on this channel. We're a little bit more long term, but the choice is there, and you can see my code, or you can just follow the link in the description. If you use any of those, it would be much appreciated. But that's pretty well it, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.